What is the dumbest thing you got punished for in school? Flip the monitor screen upside down. Control plus Alt plus arrow key. Got banned from using any school computer for the rest of the year. In 2nd grade, 1993. I dressed up as Aladdin for Halloween. My grandmother worked hard to make the costume as authentic as possible, down to the little patch on the leg. Everyone complimented me on the costume and I was riding high. Then I heard sobbing. Some little hit named John, a cribber B and overall hit student, also dressed as Aladdin, but his costume was garbage. No fez, just an off-color purple vest and some tan sweat pants. He was weeping uncontrollably because my costume was better. He ran and hid in the coat room. My teacher flipped her hit on me and made me apologize to him. I didn't do anything wrong. I just had a better costume. I reluctantly apologized to the little hit, shook his hand, and was forced to remove my costume and let him wear his. I got detention for cheating in a test because my score was too high. I didn't cheat. I just studied. My hair gets highlights in it if I spend a lot of time in the sun. I came back to school after a 2-week beach holiday and got detention because I had colored my hair, even though the sun had bleached it. My lips go purple if it's cold, even if I'm not particularly cold in myself. I got a few detentions for wearing makeup before my mum phoned up and complained. I was flirting with a girl I'd known since we were 4. Special needs kid got angry and punched me in the face. I got suspended for fighting. In 7th grade I found a notebook in the hallway and turned it into my teacher. I was suspended for 3 days because there was a drawing of a centaur holding a pitchfork and they deemed that as gang related. This is in Atlanta, so no gangs matching that description here. Some guy pushed his friend down the stairs in elementary and said guy landed on me. Got detention for missing an important lesson while I was out cold in the infirmary. I got a lollipop as an apology for the detention after it was explained though. A big lollipop. The school provided bus being late. When the teacher who handed out the detentions was confronted by a large number of parent complaints, she responded with, "Not my problem." Working ahead in my textbook. My French teacher did not like me for some reason I could never guess. Anyway, one day during her exam she came to my desk and accused me of cheating when I wasn't doing anything wrong. So, I protested and said I am not cheating. She then proceeded to took away my sheet and ask me questions on test verbally. I replied correctly to all her questions. Now that she knew that she got nothing on me, she wrote -5 on my sheet because of me daring to protest. Spanish teacher accused me of cheating on a test once. Granted I was, but still, trying to go to the library during lunch. They said I needed a hall pass. Fine, I went and got one. Then they were upset because the hall pass didn't have an end time on it, but the teacher who gave me the pass was the same class I'd returned to after lunch. It was a split period class. And when I tried to show them my schedule to prove that, they sent me to the principal's office for insubordination. I just wanted to do some research for a paper. Jokes on them. That teacher ended up just giving me several pre-signed passes because in his words that is just really dumb. One time my best friend at the time and I, both female, exchanged a hug at recess because we were in different classes. One of my teachers sent us to the wall where we had to stand for 30 minutes alone, because she claimed by hugging we were trying to turn on our male friends. We were in grade 6. Getting beat up by 2 other kids in the bathroom. When I was in 5th grade, we were doing our end of year testing, so we were supposed to be well behaved and serious. They gave us a bathroom break, so a large group of boys all went. When I came out of the stall, one kid grabbed me from behind and held my arms behind my back, and another kid kept punching me in the stomach and chest. My teacher came storming in, everyone dispersed, and she grabbed me by the arm and dragged me back to class. I was forced to write the 2 boys, who beat me up, an apology letter. She threatened to have me expelled from the entire school district if I didn't, and never gave me the chance to explain myself. Me being a 5th grader, I thought I had to listen to her, and I was always too afraid to tell my parents out of fear of getting in trouble. The 2 boys never got in trouble. I was the only one who did, and I was never allowed to explain my side of the story. When I was in the 6th grade I had a doctor's appointment on a test day, so I came in late. My teacher sent me to a neighboring classroom to take the test while they went over the answers. On the very last question I ended up doing eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and the teacher of the neighboring classroom happened to look over at me as my pencil was going back and forth between answers. She stopped her whole class and yelled, "Did you just do eeny, meeny, miny, mo?" Me thinking I had just committed murder told her no, so she freaked out and called my teacher, outraged. I had a very nervous walk back to my classroom and my teacher was just like sup and didn't even mention it. Got suspended for throwing paper airplanes in elementary school. Also my little brother's friend is in elementary school and he got in trouble for sexual harassment for saying this roses are red, violets are blue, no girl on earth is prettier than you. A buddy of mine once had 10% of his grade lowered on a report because when he stapled them together, he did it horizontally instead of at a 45-degree angle. I thought that was ridiculous but couldn't help laughing. I got detention for saying okay to my home economics teacher in middle school. Seriously. We were in class and she asked me to do something and I replied, politely, okay. The teacher has a detention board and a day later I see my first name on it. I have a very common name and, joking with her, went haha that's for me right? She said it was. I asked her what I did and she said it was because I replied okay to her when she asked me to do something and she hates when people do that. She just wants them to do it. I was stunned. I told her I wasn't going to detention. I got home and told my mom what happened. My teacher's son was in the same grade as my older sister so my mom knew the teacher. She ended up calling her and the teacher apparently was fumbling over her words trying to justify the detention. The next day, she goes to me, "You served this detention right?" As a wink wink nudge nudge type of thing. I said no and I'm not going to. She goes, "No, you served it right." I decided to just say sure and that was that. I did the music at our monthly mass for my religion credit and got detention for a few weeks because I played the final countdown on the piano during the offering. Catholic schools, what are you gonna do? In high school. The year I got there was the year they instituted a rule that you had to display your ID at all times while at school. If you didn't have your ID out, you could get detention. Due to reasons, I got to school about an hour before first bell and had zero way of getting back home or getting anything from home. Well, until the end of school of course. So I get to school and realize oh noes. I forgot my ID at home. Well, no problem. I'll just go to the office and get a temp one. Welp, turns out I should have tried to make it through the day without my ID, because I got detention anyway. And I knew that I had a greater than 95% chance of making it through the day without anyone who cared noticing I didn't have my ID out. But no, I tried to do the right thing. Well, F you school, you taught me a terrible lesson. I actually have a great story on this one. In 4th grade, or something, I had this old female dog of a teacher we all really hated. Let's call her Catherine. Her actual name. So I was hanging out in the schoolyard when some first graders came running towards me and kicked me in the nuts. With absolutely no reason whatsoever. So I started crying and screaming from the unbearable pain I was in. Catherine comes running and starts screaming at me for making a scene. She starts screaming at a little kid who just got his nuts kicked far up his stomach. So I scream right back at her, and she asks me if I wanted to move this whole discussion to the principal's office. Knowing I was being treated extremely wrong, my answer is of course yes. Catherine ended up getting yelled at by the principal for 20 minutes or so, and I got to go home 3 hours before school ended. Best day ever. I got a lunchtime detention for writing too big on the whiteboard. I was eating a sandwich at my locker after school and got a detention. Was the sandwich worth it? Not being able to read the teacher's handwriting. Looking back, the whole situation was hilarious, but at the time, he was a tyrant of a teacher and everyone was scared of him. He was writing notes on a whiteboard which we had to transcribe into our notebooks. One of the sentences had the word glass tube in it. He wrote the SS in a way that it looked like an M. Being young and naive, I asked what is a glam tube. He went mental, shouting at me and dragged me across the desk by my ear, screaming about me not being able to read and shouting glam tube. I'm sure it ended up in a detention. What is the dumbest thing you got punished for in school? Leave it in the comments below.